also.
Good, good. So, what's been on your mind this week?
What's been on my mind? Kind of started thinking about what I might feel like doing when I stop doing paid employment, maybe a bit. Don't know why, but just have been. Haven't come to any conclusions or anything, but started to thinking about, what might be next?
Okay. Okay.
What about you?
What started that thinking process?
Just the realization that death is not that far away. It's knocking at the door. It's calling my name.
Now that was me knocking at your door, but you didn't open.
Yeah. I don't know. No, just one of those things. I just sort of thought, oh, I should start thinking about that a bit more, actually.
Yeah.
Just a realization that as I started, starting a new cycle, what possibilities might there be associated with that new cycle?
But you're not starting a new cycle yet.
No, but presumably the wheel will come around to the stage where it'll start a new cycle. So,
yeah, eventually, yeah.
Well, I don't know about eventually,
You're talking about a 9-year cycle, life cycle, or?
Oh, I don't know, just
a cycle.
The end is near.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess a lot of people in Gaza are saying that too.
I bet there are. Yeah, I bet there are. It's hard to imagine a situation, although I suppose we should all imagine it in some form or another. But it's hard to imagine a situation where when you wake up in the morning, you're not sure whether you'll be alive at the end of the day, so.
Yeah.
Oh, before I forget too, I got that email that you forwarded about YouTube's severe reprimand relating to inappropriate content.
Yeah.
Still not a whole lot wiser, but anyway, it is what it is. So.
Neither am I. I just deleted it after I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, maybe we should rethink where we put our recorded videos.
Where did you have in mind? What options are there?
Yeah, there's YouTube's opposition. Oh goodness me, the names have slipped out of my mind. I don't go there very often.
Is that Rumble? Is it?
Rumble, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I've got an account there, and we some time ago we did put some things up, and just lost track of it because I watch a lot of videos, and it always defaults to YouTube. And when it doesn't default to YouTube, the topic that I want to discuss is on YouTube, okay, and not elsewhere. But so that's the only reason why I sort of left that for a while. So what do you think? Shall we rather put our recordings up there? And
yeah, well, I mean, what are the options? I think there's Vimeo, is there? That's an option, is it? I mean, I don't know. But
yeah, there are other options too. I'm just not familiar with them anymore because I only use YouTube. And
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to know.
What do you suggest?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to know. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what they were offended about. I made an assumption that it had something to do with vaccinations, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But who knows? Yeah.
Mm.
Who knows? So, but the interesting thing is, you know, if you look at it from a risk point of view, you say, okay, well, what's the risk? I mean, it's pretty low risk, whichever way you look at it, I guess. But if they decide that they don't like something else that's in the content of a video, then presumably you'll either get another warning or you'll get a strike, or I'm not sure how they rank their assessment of something that they view as inappropriate. So
yeah, I just think that it's like the universe saying to us, you know, this is not the place for you. Okay.
Okay.
And so, you know,
Yeah. Well, I have an open mind. I'm not wedded to YouTube. That's for sure. You know. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have a look around before I put this one up, or anyone's in the future, and I'll send you a message suggesting what I do. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's interesting though that I won't say anything.
That's so long ago, you see. I guess the AI has just got to that level of efficiency now, where it can shoot through very quickly.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? As you say, with the elapse of time, you know. So, how long ago was it? It was like a couple of years ago or longer.
February 21.
Okay, so a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. So that was during that time, you know.
What was happening back in 21? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting, isn't it, in one sense, because you wonder what lens they applied to it. Was the lens, so to speak, that they applied to it like as if it was happening at that day when they did the review, or was it a retrospective view? Or something else? I mean, that's what I say. I don't know. They didn't say.
Yeah.
They just communicated an outcome, not the reasons behind it. But anyway.
Yeah. I believe it's just a nudge to go somewhere else. Nobody's going to be the loser. You know, we can record, we can put up wherever we want for our reference, but we don't have a lot of followers or.
No, as I say, it's not as if it's going to disadvantage millions of people or anything. So
I think YouTube will be disadvantaged not having us on their tube. They just don't know how lucky they are.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a strange old world we live in sometimes when you think about, you know, supposedly a democratic, open society, but then you see decisions like that which make you ask the question about, okay, so how does this course of action fit against, you know, a society which values diversity of opinion and.
Yeah, but I mean, who other than Elon Musk's new Twitter X, there's just no other organization that is totally open and free. I mean, you know, YouTube, Google itself, of course, owns YouTube. They are very biased, and so is Microsoft. Okay.
So, what do you think they're biased towards?
Certainly, they are part and parcel of consumerism, part and parcel of the black hats or Satanism in its much subtler form. Okay, I think I bundle all those together, and
it's interesting though, because like the Hebrew word for Satan, the meaning of it means opposer or opposition. So if you think about it in the court setting, you know, you have the prosecution and then the defense.
Yeah.
You know, well, depending on the nature of the case, I guess, but the prosecution sort of opposes, you know, what has happened. So it's sort of within the context of those meanings, you sort of, you know, if you use that as the lens and you say, okay, so if they're opposing comments or content that was published, you know, what's at the other end of that opposition spectrum?
Yeah.
You know, and it's a question that, quite frankly, you can't answer, isn't it? You know, so.
And you're biased anyway, or you have to be biased. That's your job.
Well, it's the nature of the human condition, isn't it? You know, to be able to discern means that you have to, you know, form a view about something.
Right.
And if you form a view about something, then, you know, that's your bias, I guess. You know, so.
Yeah. Yeah. What comes to mind is, you know, the Australian High Court that let those 100-odd detainees out onto the streets, and you know, you wonder what, I mean, it was a human being that finally did it. Okay, it made that judgment or made that call and told them to release them based on a law, but he must have also gone through a thinking process, and he must have had other options other than just going by the law, the consequences of letting those people out.
Well, I think and that's a good point, but I suppose in my mind, an equally fascinating point is you know, we talk about YouTube or we talk about Google as if it's like a human entity. But you know, they say, oh well, YouTube has made the decision. Well, who's actually making the decision? Because an organisation, you know, the decisions are made by people, presumably.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I have no reason to understand that it's made by anything other than people. So it always fascinates me, particularly how corporations and large corporations in particular are presented as like an individual, as an entity, you know, like as a as a person.
Yeah.
And the law recognises them in many respects as a person, gives them, you know, rights and benefits, in some cases exceeding what people have. But I'd also argue that they're actually not real.
Yeah.
You know, so it's sort of a real sort of fascinating thing when you try and see it as it is. And as you say, you know, they talk about powers and principalities. Well, who's actually making the decisions? You know, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is, you know, something that a lot of people don't even, I'm sure, they even think about. You know,
right.
Who's actually making the decision? Sure, it's been presented as YouTube has decided, but presumably YouTube doesn't have a consciousness, so how can it decide?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it.
Yeah, I think I saw a news clip about judges, certain judges in America that actually use AI to form a judgment.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
So you can see where it's going very quickly. I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but maybe the AI is less emotional than a human being.
But I think we also know that it's not infallible either, Well, by human standards, for sure.
Yeah.
Not that humanity is infallible, but. Yeah, but anyway, as you say, nothing worth losing sleep over.
No.
So what sort of thoughts have been occupying your mind?
About losing sleep. That's what's been on my mind.
Oh, losing sleep. Oh, why? Because it's been so hot? Or
No. You can accommodate that. It's painful feet. Okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it's all nerve related. I suppose that's a silly statement because all pain is, but it's not a joint or your feet have got so many bones in you that you think, well, all these joints, it's maybe you've got a joint that's, but no, it's sort of you wake up and there's in this case, like last night, there was a pain in the right foot that is really uncomfortable, So,
whereabouts?
It was on last night. Was on the sort of the top of the foot. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sort of right over the top of the foot, and then sort of I woke up at about 2 o'clock. Okay, and I got up, walked around, and got back into bed again, and it was then like on the side of the foot.
Okay.
That became an issue. So I put it all down to at the moment my blood sugar is high. Okay, and so it's been high for a few weeks now, and of course at 8.5, which is what the blood sugar is, it's good and solidly in the diabetic realm. Okay.
See, I just asked Bing the question, like, what's the emotional response to pain in the feet? And it says the emotional response to foot pain can vary depending on the individual and the severity of the pain. According to a systematic review published in the Journal of Foot and Ankle Research, people with foot and ankle pain tend to experience more negative emotional and cognitive factors than those without foot and ankle pain. The review also found that emotional distress was significantly associated with foot pain and foot function, and in some people with plantar heel pain.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So are you feeling stressed?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes, I do feel stressed. I think more on a different level than quite a conscious level. Okay. And and obviously a lot's got to do with my well, two things: my health, okay, which is directly proportional to the blood sugar. So I just get, but also I'm stressed because of whatever's causing my feet. Let's ignore that for a moment. Is it's not easy to go for a walk anymore, okay? Because my feet are very sensitive, okay? So I bought a book. Let me just give me. I'll just grab it for you. It's just another part of the room here. You read
Glucose Revolution.
Yeah. And she's highly qualified in this field with a number of different degrees, but she really works on Instagram, and she has a very large following of people on Instagram, and those people are saying how her hacks, as she calls them, okay, for blood sugar has worked for them, okay, including emotional issues and depression, and which the hacks or the glucose or excess glucose, any glucose that you eat, or let's say any carbohydrates that you eat turn to glucose, okay? And so what happens every time you eat carbohydrates is that within, let's say, an hour, you peak at high sugar level, high blood sugar level, okay? Then it drops, and you get moody, or everybody's slightly different, get emotional, you feel down, depressed, and your body says, give me more sugar, okay? And so you get hungry, okay? And so if it's not mealtime, you tend to nibble. So I've been looking at it from that angle, and I've really got some good information from this book. And I spent today just accumulating my notes and things, just putting them together.
Yeah.
And because, as Chat said to you, it could be those various non-physical things.
Well, I specifically asked what the emotional response was, so that was probably channeling it in that direction. So
yeah. So it's not wrong. It's just, which comes first, the egg or the chicken, yeah. So anyway, I'll get to the bottom of it, and
so if it's a nerve pain, do things like Panadol and those sort of things, do they lessen the pain or not at all?
When you're awake, they don't appear to have any effect on that pain at all. Okay. If I had pain before I went to bed, and I took it, it allows me to sleep through the night. Okay. So I don't know whether that you know, whether it stops the pain during the night or whether it just because you're taking the painkillers,
it induces sleep.
It induces sleep. And so no, it doesn't help during the day at all. So and I've tried different ones. And so anyway, so no, that.
So does that mean that nerve pain, you know, like it's hard to get a painkiller for it? I guess you're almost doing those, what do they call them, the beta blockers or something, is it? I don't know.
Yeah, you know, as I mentioned a moment ago, all pain is traveled along and uses the nerves.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay? If you've got it, no matter where you got a pain, the message is traveling along the nerves to make you conscious of it. Okay. And so.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because if you can't find a physical reason for the pain, then it takes you down a different pathway, I guess, doesn't it?
Well, you know, I don't know if you've read any of my articles historically on neuropathy, and
if I have, I can't remember them.
Yeah, they, you know, it basically, and even, you know, if we look at a week ago when you and I chatted, we were talking about mind and brain and the subconscious and the conscious, and all that aha moments and memory is all carried through the nervous system.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just don't give it enough credit for what it is, and so it's really the most important messenger, and it's calling you to make decisions, okay, or not make decisions. You know, that is a decision-making process, not making them also. So, you know, your body is full of systems, and the blood being one of them, and it's designed to, you know, work within parameters. And then when those parameters are exploited for whatever reason, greed or whatever it is, then it reacts. And then if it doesn't stop, then other things support that reaction. Okay. And in the case of blood sugar, you get high blood sugar, you get the pikes and you get the dips, which is the first one. But then you get to a point where the insulin said enough is enough. Okay, I can't produce any more insulin. Now you become insulin resistant. That really fouls up the things. Okay. The system, or the blood system, and then also affects the cells, okay, because, you know, the mitochondria and the cells, the little batteries in the cells, in every single cell, millions of them, need the sugar, okay, because, you know, glucose is very important to the running of the body, okay. So you need your carbohydrates, and you just need to avoid them damaging your system when you're in sort of a diabetic situation. Okay. But even if you're not in a diabetic situation, you can manage your life a lot better. And she gives so much evidence about that in this book.
So in terms of managing it, does that, what sort of factors does that focus on?
Yeah, that's interesting because, and it's still very clear in my mind because, as I said, I've been doing the summary today, and what she recommends that every single day you start the day with a savory breakfast. Okay, never not have a savory breakfast.
Like, what's an example of that?
Well, the masses of examples. Okay, you can have bacon and eggs. Okay, you can have an omelette. Okay, you can have beans on toast or whatever. Okay, and anything, basically anything that is protein and fat is savory. Is a good way of describing savory. Okay, so you have a good amount of protein and fat, which would then include things. Beans have a lot of protein in them, for example. Okay, a very powerful protein. Okay, but so does meat. Okay, so depending which diet you're on, it doesn't matter which diet you're on. The facts are the facts; they stay the same. Whether you're eating meat,
like for example, I have rolled oats, with walnuts and turmeric and ground cinnamon and honey.
Yeah.
Is that savory or not?
No, that's not savory. Okay. Oats in itself is a carbohydrate. Okay, and particularly rolled oats, it's more refined. Okay, then there's one step back if you're going to have oats, but it's still a carbohydrate. Okay, you're doing a good thing by adding some nuts to it, because then but it's predominantly the volume is with oats. Okay, so what she says here. So have a savory breakfast. So work it out that you have a savory breakfast. Don't have cereal. Don't have porridge, because they are carbohydrates. So you can have, something can be. You can have a slice of bread, which is carbohydrate, but then have something on it that is fat or protein. Tofu, if you and so there's an enormous list, and I've now made a list for myself, and she gives a list of things in the book, masses of breakfasts that you can do, everyday sort of things. Okay, you'll find it. I won't bore you with them now, but yeah, then you've started your day off with a savory breakfast. Then when it comes to lunch, always allow the fiber in your lunch to be eaten first. Okay, and fiber is anything green vegetable. Okay, raw or cooked. Okay, eat that first before you eat the carbohydrates on your plate and before you have your dessert after that. Okay, so the reason for eating the greens is to get the fiber. Now, what the fiber does, it enters your stomach, and it takes so much longer for your stomach to digest that, to enter the intestines and digest that. So it takes a long time. So what happens if you had to eat the carbohydrates first, or God forbid you ate the dessert first? Okay, it's just chook, 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 into your stomach, into your intestines, and straight into your blood. Okay, very quickly. Okay, but by eating the fiber first, and the fiber causes like a sieve, and it can't get past that. Okay, not until it's ready to. So what happens? It slowly seeps through the fiber. The fiber's taking its time to get down, because you get soluble fiber and you get non-soluble fiber, and your good bugs lower down in your intestines really love that non-soluble fiber. It eventually goes out of your system. Okay, but they need the fiber, the good bugs in your gut. So that slows down the whole process. Then you eat your carbohydrates, whatever it is, and if you're going to eat something that's manufactured that you bought frozen in the shop, so be it, okay? Whether it's plant-based or meat-based, it's a carbohydrate, okay, predominantly, okay? Pasta is carbohydrate, okay? And you can generalize by saying anything man-made that you buy in the shop is going to be carbohydrates.
Like any sort of processed food, is it?
All processed food is carbohydrate. Yeah. Okay. You know, that's in addition to the obvious things like potatoes are carbohydrates, rice is carbohydrates. Okay. But that you don't stop eating them. You just eat the green first.
So that goes the sequence of eating.
The sequence that you eat things. In other words, you know, what we're doing now is I make a salad for every lunchtime, okay? And so we eat the salad first, and then we eat whatever carbohydrate I've made, okay? And then, you know, if we're going to have a dessert like ice cream or something, then, you know, we eat it at the end, and you don't get the spikes an hour later, where you're really feeling like a top of the world, you know, and then you dive off a cliff. So then there's another really, really interesting hack that if you find yourself, which we always do, okay, in a situation where, you know, let's say you're out for lunch and with friends or something, and there's no salad to eat, all right, there's no greens and so on, okay? And remember, it doesn't have to be separate. Let's say you've got cooked spinach and cabbage and cauliflower on your plate with your carb. You eat that first before you eat the actual carbohydrate. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So that works as well. Okay. And there's no time delay. It's just getting into your stomach first. First come, first served. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that is working. But failing that, I've still got to experiment. I actually started yesterday. If you take a tablespoon of vinegar in a glass of water, I use apple cider vinegar because it tastes quite pleasant. Okay, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in water, and you just drink that either before or just before you eat, or if you don't get to do it, you can do it while you're eating as well. Just drink that. That takes away the spike. Okay. So if you land up at tea time and you want to have a piece of cake or something, you know, just have a glass of apple cider vinegar first. Okay. Put it away. Takes you 30 seconds. And then have your piece of cake. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the key thing out of all that is vegetables first. No matter what meal you're eating. Okay. Vegetables first. And it doesn't matter, you know, if you're stuck for salads or something. You know, there are all sorts of things that are in bottles, you know, like sauerkraut. I make my own sauerkraut. I've got bottles and bottles of sauerkraut that I've made, okay? Or you can, you know, eat gherkins, fermented, whatever vegetable, anything you like in a bottle, as long as it hasn't got added sugar.
Yeah.
Okay, because then you're defeating the object. Now, some of them in Coles and Woolworths don't have sugar. Okay, you just got to read the labels. Okay. So, but it's, you know, it's so easy in summer here to always have some lettuce and cucumber and carrots lying around.
So in terms of you know, what she recommends, so what are the consequences of following that sort of regime? What are the outcomes that you experience?
Well, what I hope to experience is not being hungry when my sugar spikes go high and then hit down low.
Yeah. So do you get like cravings or?
You know, late in the day is when I get hungry.
Yeah. Okay.
And, so what happens usually, I rest after lunch, which is another thing she recommends you don't do, is you just stay active for 10 minutes after you've eaten. Whether you're washing the dishes or going for a walk or doing anything, but just stay active for 10 minutes after you've eaten your dessert, okay, or your whatever meal it is. And that helps immensely because, you know, your muscles are then asking for that sugar that you just just eaten. Okay. Yeah, that was your question. What was your question?
Well, and just in terms of, you know, what is she saying that the outcomes will be? So,
okay.
Yeah. So in terms of the diabetes, does it help as a better management regime? Is that kind of?
Yes, definitely. It controls the level of sugar in your blood. That's it, fine, and that's what you want. Okay. Everybody wants that, in fact, you know. But those who don't have diabetes, you know, perhaps less so than those who do have diabetes, because you want to just be able to control those sugar levels at not only after fasting, okay, but every, you know, your sugar levels should be, you know, after 4 hours or 3 to 4 hours should be normal, okay. But you know, after you've eaten anything, they're going to go up. And she gives masses and masses of diagrams with scientific tests that have been done on people over many years, and you can see the same thing eaten at the same time. You know, she then shows the diagram. There's just so much. Let me just show you the type of diagram. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So the top one is eating the same food as the bottom one. Okay. But you can see the spikes. Okay.
Just in a different sequence. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just stops it spiking high, which then means it's not such a fall. And you are then having to discipline or try to discipline yourself. And sometimes it's damn difficult when you've had a high spike and a big fall to not eat something. But she caters for that in the book too. She says, want a snack? Here's a list of things that you can snack. Okay. And that you might be, I think it was, I still remember I think it was page 216. Or was it 100? Let me just have a quick look. No, I'm wrong with remembering the page number. Let me just look in the index, the back of the book, and we'll somewhere find snacks. 201. Okay, 216. Okay. Yeah, she's got a list. So, wrong one. Oops, wrong one. There we go.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So, if you're interested, you can take a snap of that page. But there are a whole lot. For example, a spoonful of nut butter will take away that craving. That's now protein and a fat mixed together. And that's what you're looking for. Otherwise, a Greek yogurt, you know, topped with a handful of nuts of some description. Otherwise, the Greek yogurt with nut butter. You know, Otherwise, yeah, baby carrots and a spoonful of humus. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
And yeah, and then also nuts and very dark chocolate. Okay. Otherwise, just a piece of cheese if you eat dairy. Okay. So those are all the sort of things, and yeah, a hard-boiled egg with a dash of hot sauce. Okay. And so on. So, so you don't diet for the cookie, do you?
Yeah. Go for the quick fix. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so easy to to go to the cupboard and look for Baker's or Arnold's biscuits.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, because the mind is crying out, I need this, I need this, I need this. And sometimes, like, even when you think you're hungry, or you're really not, you're just thirsty, aren't you? So.
Yeah, it's interesting. She says, if you on a down and you're now feeling hungry, if you can last it out for 20 minutes, hunger will go away. And scientifically, the reason it goes away is the body says, I can't wait for any more of this. I'm going to take it out of your fat and out of your muscle and so on. Okay. And that's what it does. Okay. And that's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all, for me at the moment, all very interesting. So I want to get out of a lot of the habits that I've, for 74 years, have sort of grown in.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's just routine or habit or mindset that, I feel this way, therefore that,
Yeah, yeah. But remember that you didn't know you were doing wrong when you were building the habit, okay?
No.
Reaching for a biscuit or something is not wrong, okay? But now you can reach for something else, and actually, your body will thank you for it. So, I asked Sue last week to buy me some baby carrots. Now, I don't know. My perception of a baby carrot is a small little carrot like this,
Yeah.
But she bought a carrot that's half the size of the full-grown one, which is also not easy to munch on when you just want to read and munch a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
So the other thing you can also do is you take these water biscuits. They've virtually got nothing. They created virtually with nothing. Okay, they got very low carbohydrates, and so if you take that and put humus on it, or you put cheese on it, or you put salmon on it, or you put, whatever. Smoked salmon is lovely on that, or ham. Woolworths have this very, very finely cut ham. Okay, very fine. And usually, you just roll up one of those fine things, and it works. So anyway, yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because, like, in one sense, there's like nothing new in that, like, you don't have to go out and find some food that you've never eaten before.
Yeah.
It's basically, as you say, it's probably your current diet, but just done in a different way, like different sequence.
Different sequence, that's the most important. That's the fundamental issue of what she's proven to me in this book. It's the sequence that you eat things. And then she's got some hacks, okay? She's just saying, it's just your body having a protein breakfast or a savory breakfast. It just stays in your body right throughout the day. Okay? Yeah. So she said, why not have a savory breakfast? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're right. There's nothing. It's not a diet. It's not a diet. Okay?
No, because as you say, you're eating the same foods.
Yeah, and whether you're a plant-based eater or whether you're a meat eater, it's the same diet.
Makes no difference whether you're one or the other.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's where I am today.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. In due course, probably in a couple of months, I'll put it on my website. But I'm not ready yet. I want to put it all to the test first.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the best way to test it, isn't it? First hand.
Yeah. And my big is as I said to you earlier, it's from mid-afternoon to the time I go to bed at 10 o'clock at night. So those 6 hours or 5 hours are when I've always been weak and always something. And Sue comes back from work and is absolutely exhausted with her kids, and so she just wants to put her feet up and watch something on TV. And so I join her with that. And but boy, that's snack time, eh? So last night was the first time that I had nuts there, and I had dark chocolate. Okay, and this was one of my worst nights. So.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, I said I really had pain in my feet last night, and but you can't take something in isolation. So I experimented yesterday.
So would it be fair to say that nuts are like little powerhouses in one sense? Like.
Yeah, nuts have protein and have fat. Okay. You can have too many of them. Okay. Yeah. And the nuts I had last night, Sue had bought them. They were salted cashews. Okay. Perhaps not the best nuts to have at buy.
So when you say have too many of them, like, so would you get some sort of allergic reaction or?
No. It takes time to digest them. Okay. And being salted, you tend to eat more than something that's salted.
Yeah, that's true.
Something that's raw. Okay. So
probably because you're actually thirsty, not hungry. Yeah.
Probably, yeah. So, but we'll get all those out, and also historically we always had our sort of tin of stuff next to us between our chairs. Some sweets and toffees and biscuits and things like that. So you reach into the tin and you're watching the project on TV, and Yeah.
Interesting. That's a really interesting topic.
I'm glad you found it interesting.
Well, I mean, it just underscores to me, like it's like everything that you do in your life. You just can't take any part of it for granted. Like it needs to be a mindful thing, doesn't it? Whether it's mindful exercise or mindful eating or mindful living, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And as soon as you stop making it mindful, then it becomes harmful.
Yeah. But I also, what really pisses me off is that, with my feet being sensitive, I can hardly go for a walk. Okay. Now that's not on. Okay. That's part of my regime. It's part of my exercise. It's part of keeping alive, is going for a walk. Okay. I don't really mind how long the walk is, or how short it is, or how fast it is even, but just keep moving and go for a walk, and enjoy the forest and the birds, and so I'm going to, I haven't been for a walk today because I've made up my mind I'm going to spend the whole day summarizing this book, which I've done. I've summarized it. So, yeah.
Very good.
I asked ChatGPT for I printed it out. I just want to tell you what I called it, what I asked him for. Okay. Just read this light. Put the light on above my head. Oops. Okay. I said to him, and this I quote, I need a high protein, high fiber, and fat recipe for dried beans done in a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
My pressure cooker is still out there with the lid open.
Yeah.
And so he gave me, as he always does, hello, Michael, creating a nutritious, high protein, high fiber, and healthy fat recipe with dried beans using a pressure cooker sounds like a fantastic idea. It always motivates me, always. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he calls it now as the heading for this, high protein, high fiber, healthy fat bean stew recipe.
Oh, okay.
And I've got it behind me, and I don't think I've tasted anything so delicious.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's absolutely, I just wish I could give you a spoonful. It's what ingredients he suggested was obviously the dried beans, onion, garlic, carrots, bell pepper, diced tomato, vegetable broth, olive oil, cumin, paprika, a chili powder, salt and pepper.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and the taste is wow. Okay. And before, all I do would, I would take dried beans and I would just cook them. Okay. And then when I eat them, I put something on. And but I decided no, I want to. My food must also be delicious, and I'm very, very happy with that.
How long do you have to cook them for?
It depends whether you soak them overnight. Now, I only came up with this morning, so I wasn't prepared to wait. So I asked him too. I said, you recommend cooking them for 30 minutes, but you also said I must soak them overnight. And I'm not going to soak them overnight. How long? So he said, just double the cooking time.
Okay.
So I put them in the pressure cooker for an hour, and absolutely perfect. Really, really great.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
It is, because now I've got the essence of a savory breakfast. Okay. And now I will save that, because there's probably, I've got to make a decision before I go to bed tonight, how much I'll keep out for maybe the next 2 or 3 days. But I'm guessing now I've probably got about 6 or 7 helpings in that, with 1 cup of dried beans. Okay.
Wow. That's economical.
Yeah, very, and dried beans are very cheap. Okay, in the soup. So yeah, so, and all the other things you add to it, like broth. I make my own broth, and I've got it stored. As it happened today, I actually used some broth that Sue had bought some time ago, and it was going to expire soon. So I used that. But yeah, otherwise you just make it with water and not with broth. Chat said, it's your choice.
Yeah. Excellent. It's been fascinating.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I suppose we should leave it at that, should we?
Yeah.
For the week. Yeah.
So, what you've got to do is next week this time is ask me, are you walking again?
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. The opening question, because nothing will please me more than to say yes.
Yep, sounds good. Challenge accepted.
Are you still walking early in the morning?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
6 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah, so on the 7th day, which is typically a Sunday, I'm trying to make that more of a Sabbath, so one of rest and recovery.
Yeah, yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your dog will be thankful too.
I think she is actually. Yeah. Even though she's keen to go for a walk, I think she's like, okay, yep, that's fine. You know, so.
Do you talk to it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Give her credit for a lot of things that she's probably not entitled to. So anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, my friend. Well, you take care, and I'll look forward to talking to you next week.
That's great. Thanks very much. I enjoyed it.
Okay,
Thanks.
then. See you now.